Hello everyone, it's Wednesday. It's the 17th of February 2021. Well, here we are on the halfway point of the week. Is the weather going to get any better? Well, yes and no. It's going to remain an active weather pattern for the high plains and Rocky Mountain West as we go into the second half of the week and the weekend. But the Arctic air is leaving, but for the next 2 weeks, the pattern's going to be active, meaning there's going to be more chances for snow, up and down temperature and conditions, but it's not going to be as cold next week. I do see some temperatures early to mid next week that actually will maybe get a little bit above average, but until then, temperatures at or below average through the weekend. Fast-moving systems will continue to bring occasional snow to the mountains, and we're going to see a little bit of snow on the plains, nothing big, but it's the high country I want to point out is just in a really favorable pattern to be picking up some snows, and that'll be good for the snowpack. And boy, if you're a skier or a snowmobiler, you're going to find a lot of snow on the ski slopes and the mountain slopes where you like to recreate this weekend across the region. Taking a look at snowpack conditions, this is as of this morning. Look at the upper North Platte, now at 94% of average. We see a nice increase on the Green River as well. The Snake River is almost there at average, and we can see that the northern and western drainages and the southern drainages are doing better. Now, the Crow Creek drainage, the southeast corner of Wyoming, this is so low because of the lack of upslope storms. Hopefully that'll get better, but that's one drainage that I don't think is going to really be able to recover this winter. But even the lower North Platte starting to get a little bit better as well at 71, 89 in the Laramie. In Colorado, the southern drainages at or above average. The South Platte now up to 90, 93 in the North Platte. The headwaters of the North Platte River up there doing better in the Laramie River, and the Yamp White doing well. And we're getting close to being 90% of average there. So some encouraging news. And we are encouraged that the snowpacks in Colorado and Wyoming will continue to show this improvement over the next 2 to 3 weeks. These are temperatures as of 5 a.m. this morning, Mountain Time. And you can see the Arctic air and the depth and the breadth of it still very impressive because the gray here shows the sub-zero temperatures. But even here, I mean, when you're talking purple, you're talking single digits, and you're talking 20s in the white here. And you can see, look how cold it is all the way now to the East Coast. But now it's the turn of the Great Lakes and eventually New England to be seeing the bitter cold Arctic conditions. But that tail we talked about last week, that Arctic tail still dragging back into the southern plains and into the southern parts of the United States. And now what's happening is you sometimes, when you get Arctic air masses to move away, the winds above the ground begin to come up from the south, and that southerly breeze coming over the Arctic air is now causing freezing drizzle, freezing rain, and that's going to be a problem in this part of the country today. It was overnight and early this morning, to add insult to injury. Look at temperatures in Florida this morning. Look at the panhandle temperatures in the 20s and lower 30s. Temperatures are in the lower 20s and upper teens in northern Georgia, and now the 30s getting all the way now to the Atlantic coast in the Carolinas. If you were to take a bird's eye look at temperatures, if you were in a spaceship looking straight down at the North Pole, you can see the breadth and the extent of how intense this Arctic air mass is across the whole northern hemisphere. Anywhere you see gray, it's below zero. Where you see the blues, you're 20, 30, 40 degrees below zero. Just an incredible wide breadth of an Arctic air mass that spans the whole northern hemisphere. And that's going to be sticking around here for a little bit longer. Now, I want to put things in perspective. These are temperatures relative to normal since February 1st. So basically, this is how February has gone relative to average across North America. And you can see all the purple here. These are 30 to 40 degree below average temperatures since February 1. And the contrast with the Continental Divide is really quite amazing, how that Continental Divide can hold back the Arctic air masses. Now, relative to average, those areas have been able to escape the bitter cold Arctic air as the track of the Arctic air has come from this direction here as it came over the globe earlier in the parts of February and late January. To put things in perspective, though, to see how the winter has gone so far, this is actually the average temperatures relative to normal for the last 90 days. So this is basically the heart of winter. Even when you add the big polar vortex, the big outbreak of severe cold here, most of Canada and most of North America has had a mild winter, if you were just to add things up over the breadth of a winter season. But this is where things can be deceptive. La Niñas do give you above average temperatures on the whole for a season. And that's exactly what this graphic shows you. But you also have the potential for these big Arctic outbreaks that can happen in La Niñas, especially right after solar minimums, just like what we saw in 2011. So you have to really be careful when you hear about averages and long-term trends and short-term trends. La Niñas do make you warmer during the winter, but it doesn't mean you can't have Arctic outbreaks. Here we are right now with the upper level pattern. That high pressure continues along the west coast. The big bowl of cold continues across the western United States with that Arctic air now moving slowly, more this way, very slowly. So we're still along the western edges of the Arctic air, still seeing it along and east of that boundary right there. Now, as we go forward, this is in the Saturday morning. As we showed you yesterday, a more westerly flow is going to start moving into parts of the United States. That's going to start to bring Pacific moisture in. There's a little bit of a dip right here. There's a little bit of an upper level low coming in. This is another really good snowmaker coming for the mountains as we get on into late Friday and into Saturday. But there's also going to be, along and east of the Divide Saturday, some snow developing in some areas with this wave. Nothing big, but there's going to be a little bit of snow. As we get into Monday and Tuesday, notice the jet stream is retreating a little for now to the north. This is going to allow warmer air to come in right here. So there is going to be a warming trend in some areas of the southern and central Rockies and southern plain states and along the west coast. Although still up here, it is still going to be really, really cold. But there is a little bit of a warmer trend for the western United States early next week. But by Wednesday, well, that goes away. Here comes a trough coming in that will come in mid to late next week, followed by another one right behind it 2 or 3 days later. So this is what we mean by an active pattern. So we're still going to be looking at episodes of snow, especially in the mountains, and some up and down temperatures. This basically means that don't expect the second half of February to just go all mild on us. While we don't see it getting bitterly cold, at least at this point in time for the next 10 to 14 days, we're going to have active weather. This is the snowfall forecast for the next 10 days, and you can see that the Intermountain West, the mountains are going to get more snow. You do see a little bit of blue there east of the Divide. There is going to be some opportunities for snow on the plains. Nothing really big yet, but it is going to be a wintry pattern. If you look at the whole nation over the next 10 days, you continue to see snow in Mexico, snow all the way down into Texas, snow getting into the mid-Atlantic, the southern extent of the snow, very, very impressive over the next 10 days. So there's still a lot of winter to go. Thanks for watching and listening to the Day Weather Podcast. We'll see you on Thursday.